Did you see this story
I
with
did.
okay. So um Cardi B and what is her real name? It's
Tasha
called
K is
yeah,
her YouTube personality, I think.
yeah, Tasha K and Bel Kalis Marlenis Almanzar, also known as Cardi
Cardi
B,
B.
and Latasha Transrena Kibi, also known
Kiwi.
as Tasha K. So both of them got some work on their names, right?
Yes. You gotta earn it.
Yeah, you got to earn them names, right? So Tasha K is this popular YouTuber. She's like a celebrity gossiper, for lack of a better
Gossiper.
term. She's one of the people who was behind the whole. What was that cat's name? That what he was the relationship coach that was cheating on his girlfriend, and the
Oh,
girlfriend
Derek
came on.
Jackson. Derek
Yeah,
Jackson.
she was
Whatever his
one of
name
the
is.
yeah, she was one of the people who kind of uncovered his story, So she is a popular, you think of a gossip blog, but as a
Hmm.
YouTuber.
Yeah.
So she's brought on all these people, and what she does is typical of what a gossip person
Gossip blog.
does.
Yep.
They dig into the dirt of celebrities' lives, pull up these facts, and then they share that information as news. Well, looks like she picked the wrong one in Cardi B. She spread some news about Cardi B of all from her having an STD to being a prostitute to all these different things.
Just making up stuff.
Yeah, according to her, this is what the streets was talking or whatever the case may be. But when you are a celebrity, when you have yourself have this influence, right, that doesn't protect you from people like Cardi B deciding to fight. So Cardi
Hmm.
B took her to court, sued her for defamation, for invasion of privacy, and intentional infliction of emotional distress rather, and won, and was awarded almost up to
It was
the
almost $4
count.
million. It was like
Yeah,
3.8, I think.
right. The count that I had was like $3 million. So just wanted to bring this up because you know just us talking about this story. Again, we're not celebrity gossipers.
Mm-mm.
We don't have field street teams, or we don't have sources or anything else, but we are on the internet, and we take stories from the internet and share them with our viewers. So what I'm trying to get out of this story between Cardi B suing and winning against this, popular YouTuber is like, now people of influence who share news, you got to be careful as to what information you're sharing. Is it public knowledge? If it's not public knowledge, if it's private knowledge that you can back up, like now you really have to have sources, and
Cite
you
your
have
sources.
you have to prove what you're talking about. You just can't say this person is doing this, or this person has been known to do that, or they in their past they've got into this trouble, and you don't have any sort of way to back it up. I think most celebrities pretty much just write off people like Tasha K and say, "Oh, it's not worth the trouble, it's not worth the headache, it's not worth the time." But maybe this case will change the minds of celebrities who feel like their privacy, they don't have privacy from people, who don't have protection from people who decide to spread false information about them, right? So everybody has to be careful, including like shows like us. Now, again,
Hmm.
we ain't got it like that, but at the same
Yet.
time, you're right. We got to make sure that we're citing, okay, I read this story in CNN, and
Hmm.
this story in CNN said that X, Y, and Z, to make sure we are not accidentally or on purpose sharing information that somebody may feel is, private or personal, to where they could reach out to us and say, hey, I don't like that. I think you need to take that
Yeah.
down, right? So we got to
Yeah,
be
because
careful.
many times when we do our stories, we'll say, reading this article from dot dot dot.
That's why we do
That's why we
it.
do it, and that's typically what journalistic integrity entails. But the thing with this Tasha with the K person,
Hmm.
So she has been doing this for years against Cardi B. And one of her manipulation tactics is to try and get people to come on her show. So it ultimately, I think what made Cardi probably go this route is she was talking about her children as well.
Oh, okay. So I didn't know
And
that.
saying that, she's kissing her kids, so she's giving her kids herpes and all
Oh,
that
ugh.
type
Why
of
would you?
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like I think Cardi had just had her second child and she was postpartum. She said she was suicidal because the things just kept coming and kept coming. And if you know anything about Cardi B, it's not just this Tasha with the K thing that's going on. It's like tons of people coming at her.
Right. Right.
So from what I've seen on Twitter with how this whole thing unraveled, Cardi B tried to settle this out of court to
Oh.
talk to the lady and kind of squash it, get out the way. And so the lady's retort was, "Well, I'll only stop if you come on my show and do an interview." And so
Oh.
that's when Cardi B was like, "You know what? You're just trying to use this
I'm not about
to
to play
get
this
even
game.
more."
Yeah.
Right. And it's never going to stop. So this is why I think she, ultimately, with those things, talking to her kids, pregnancy, suicide, ideations, and then this woman trying to still manipulate her. And even still today, when she posted her comments, when you're in, this type of industry, these things happen. And, my husband, my attorneys, we fought really hard. We'll live to fight another day, even after she lost. And
Right.
the videos that she posted are still up. She won't take them
Right.
down. So if
Right.
you see any of the comments from her, she's very smug. She appears to be very like, it seems like she's proud of herself
Right.
for how she's handled this. Even though, she has to pay this money, she probably thinks she'll never have to pay it or that, it won't be enforced. But if Cardi B went through all of this, and I think the part of the settlement is that Cardi's legal fees have to be paid, her attorneys are going to make sure they get their money, even if Cardi doesn't get or push for her portion of it.
It's gonna hit your
Because
wallet regardless.
right, because you had to pay out of pocket for attorneys, and now you have to pay her attorney's fees, and they aren't just going to say, you know what, we quit. We don't care about our money. No, because they had to do a lot of work. But what this speaks to is all of the gossip that goes on YouTube and people speaking as though things are facts. And you
Right.
have these huge platforms, you have these stands who are ruthless, and you have
Right.
people who just run with these stories. And so every time you go on social media or every time you go outside, your people are, as much as you think that, I don't care what people think about me. I
Right.
mean, it has
It
to
does
be
have an
hard.
effect. Right.
Yeah, especially for a person of her stature. You see these young kids, being cyberbullied and, all of these things. So her statement after the fact was really, really great. I'll see if I can find it. We can maybe put it in the show notes. But she is rich and famous, so she has the resources to fight this. The everyday person who is going through this
Right.
does not have the right, and not the right, but they don't have the resources to
Right. The
be able to
means.
combat
Yeah.
this. Right. And so it's one of those things where now YouTube is going to have to start to do something. We've talked about Harry and Meghan before. This is some of the same stuff that they're dealing with as well. And YouTube are letting these people run unchecked because, let's be honest, it's about money. YouTube is making a ton of money from these folks and these videos. But now that there is this, legal precedent in
Right.
place, YouTube is going to have some sort of accountability because obviously these people are violating their terms of conditions and they're just letting it run rampant. And I don't think they're going to be able to do that anymore. But ultimately, it's just, I don't know what type of person you have to be. Similar to what we are talking about with the Wardle, with the guy just, trying to rain on
Messing
everybody's
up.
parade,
Right.
that if you can't get actual facts, you're okay with just like saying these things about this person you don't even know and then trying to manipulate them to come onto your show just to get them to stop talking. And that's not going to be it. They're going to take whatever you say, chop it up, whatever, and just eat off it even more. So it's just one of those things where I don't know what's wrong with people.
Well, it's this Tasha person. She's definitely a a more of the more known people.
Mhm.
But this didn't definitely didn't start with her.
Oh no.
This is the blue. She's just following a blueprint
Yeah.
of a lot of these other publications that are popular, amongst social
Tabloid,
media. Yeah,
magazines,
right.
Instagram accounts, blogs, websites, all that stuff.
Magazines,
Hmm.
created either by black people or not, just tabloids, publications. You think of all the popular ones. What's one of the more popular ones? TMZ.
Hmm.
This is the,
Us Weekly, I think it's one.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
those People, all
and
those types of magazines.
right, the more cultural ones, Lipstick Alley, and
Mm.
all what's the one, hip hop,
World Star.
yeah, Ward Star Hip Hop. They spread this misinformation. And like you said, these celebrities, they either write it off, don't feel like being bothered. If they, again, like you mentioned with with Cardi B's case, they're just baiting you to put their name in your mouth,
Yeah.
right? As a celebrity, if you are running a publication and you say, "Oh, Terrance Gaines, he think blah 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 blah," but in reality, he's this and that and the other. In most cases, if I respond as the celebrity and says, "I don't know if you've heard about this Nica person, but in her thing on her website or in her video, she said X, Y, and Z," all the people who follow me are going to be like, what did she say? They go look you up, and that accounts to hits on your website. That accounts to all this new influence and new and then that's the
Feeds
whole
the
game.
machine, drives more engagement, drives more money to it.
And that's nothing new. That is a blueprint that's been done over and over and over and over again. But what I think this will do, being that Cardi B was the target, she is like the it girl as far as the
Hmm.
past 5 years, right? So the fact that she decided to take matters into her own hands, the fact that she fought and she actually won
One.
against these type of influencers
YouTubers, yeah.
who have probably felt like they were untouchable. The fact that they were touched, maybe that sends a message to some of these other ones like, all right, well, before we put something out here, we have to make sure that we know what we're talking about, or something like this could happen. Because just as much as these tabloids, these gossip things have emboldened other people, Cardi B fighting them may embolden other celebrities and be like, yo,
You
you
know what?
know,
Let's go get this money. Let's
let's
go and,
let's fight because there's a
yeah.
chance I can win. Before it was
Hmm.
like, who knows what's going to happen? I'm gonna be caught up in court for years. I'm gonna spend all this money, and it's going to resort to nothing.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to do anything. The courts don't care. Who cared? Mind your business. But the fact that that's could possibly not be the case, I think the
And there's
notice.
legal precedence now.
Right, right. I think the notice may go out to anybody on social media, online, on the internet, to decide they want to make a name for themselves by running their mouths about other people. You may want to think twice about that
And if
nowadays.
this can happen in a red state, Georgia, it can happen anywhere.
Right, right.
It can happen anywhere.